Both games offer a multiplayer experience through cooperative play. This means you and your friends can play through the games together, and both of them support co-op for up to 4 players. In Solasta, the co-op implementation is quite solid. During combat, there's a noticeable banner in the center of the screen that announces the actions of other players. You can even see their cursor move as they aim at targets. While it would be nice to have a more detailed view of your partner's actions, the current implementation works well. Outside of combat, you can access and view each other's characters and inventories, exchange items and so on. You know, things you'd expect from a proper cooperative experience. Every dialogue and event in the game is designed for the whole party. So if one player engages in a conversation or enters an event location, all other players are automatically brought there as well. So it is impossible for someone to skip important bits. During dialogues, when there is a choice to be made, only the host decides what the party will say. Other players can offer their opinion through voting, and the host sees these votes. Regardless, they can choose to ignore them and proceed as they prefer. I see why it is done this way, but it would be a welcome addition to have an option for a dice roll when disagreements arise, rather than leaving the final decision solely to the host. The main negative regarding co-op is that there are some technical challenges with the experience. Various issues can arise, such as desyncs, where what other players see doesn't match what happens on the host screen. You might have items in your inventory that shouldn't be there, or miss attacks that should have landed. The positive side is that addressing these problems was relatively straightforward by using a simple, reliable save and reload. You don't even need to rehost the game, everything just gets back to normal. And the things like this were a very rare occurrence. Another technical concern was occasional lagging. At certain points, the game could start slowing down and lagging without any apparent cause. Although the FPS for both of us was consistently above 100, the visual experience seemed more like running at 15 FPS. At times, the lag became so pronounced that the game practically became unplayable. Unfortunately, saving and reloading didn't remedy this issue. It would appear randomly and then disappear just as randomly. Sometimes after a minute, sometimes after 15. We did some investigating and concluded that the likely culprit was server overload. The European server, in particular, experienced problems during peak evening hours when the majority of players were active. Switching to a different server resolved the problem entirely. Cooperative in Baldur's Gate 3 has a bit different picture. I would say that the technical implementation seems fine. If you ever played Divinity Original Sin 2, you know exactly what to expect from this one. It is very similar, with some improvements here and there. In combat, unlike Solasta, there's no way to know the intentions of other players. The huge plus though is that there are simultaneous turns. If you are going one after another in the turn order, you can make your turns simultaneously. This is really nice, makes combat faster, and the downtime between turns is almost non-existent. However, sometimes it can lead to confusing situations if there is no proper communication. Outside of combat, you always can see other players and their actions. Their character sheets, including stats, are readily available, and you can even access their inventories. What's weird is that you have full control of their inventories and can just freely take their items or place your items in their inventories. At first, there was quite a serious problem with co-op. When someone started a dialogue, there was no way to bring other players into it automatically. each player had to manually click to overhear the conversation. This setup could easily lead to missing out on important dialogues that someone else is engaged in. Fortunately, patch 3 addressed this by enabling automatic overhearing when a party member enters a dialogue. When I say overhear the conversation, I mean precisely that, not participate. Other players, their characters and companions don't make any appearance during your dialogues. Other players can vote on dialogue options, but only the initiator decides the outcome. This weird dialogue system is the main drawback of the whole co-op experience. It makes it so that playing in co-op makes companions noticeably less reactive. With 2 players each controlling a single companion, the experience feels like 2 separate parties, rather than a cohesive group of 4. This divide means that companions will be far less engaged with the events in the game world and offer fewer comments. Additionally, the interactions and banter between companions will be notably reduced.
I don't care for fish. Red meat, now that's a different matter. Rare as can be. Dripping.
In general, I'd say that playing co-op in Baldur's Gate, while enhances the combat, unfortunately detracts from the storytelling aspects, thus diminishing the overall enjoyment. When someone else initiates a conversation, you're completely excluded from the story. Fewer companion interactions make the game noticeably worse. You get less character development, less world building, and less immersion. The whole world of Baldur's Gate 3 feels less responsive and dynamic. Companions seem much less relevant. Therefore, if you prioritize a coherent story and immersive world building over combat and group enjoyment, I would highly recommend embarking at least on your first playthrough solo. In my opinion, this offers a much more immersive experience, which is essential in a game like this. Conversely, in Solasta, the scenario is rather reversed. Immersion never was that important in this game, so co-op significantly enhances the experience. When you're playing with someone else, it makes the game more fun. You tend to overlook the narrative and world-building issues, as well as the occasional visual hiccups. Hence, if the opportunity presents itself, I strongly advise opting for co-op play in Solasta. Thank you for watching till the end. If you enjoyed this content, please consider liking and subscribing. I am a very small channel, and your support means a lot. This video was just a slice of my comprehensive comparison between Solasta and Baldur's Gate 3. If I've completed the full video, you can watch it here. If not, check out another slice right here.